pocket inside out, ate the chocolate, lint and all. It was good. Third chocolate bar. It is 1950. We are going to America. I was not very happy about this because I just got settled. My life was nothing but one thing after another. I hated change. Just got settled in the school, and here we got to go off to America. And I was supposed to make my first communion. No, I couldn't do that. Had to go to America. So the principal calls me to his office. Now, in any country, that's not good news. I walked very slowly. When I got into the principal's office, I opened the door, and he says, "Willkommen, komm rein, ich hab was für dich. Gehst auf Amerika." He said, "Well, welcome, come on in, I have something for you. I heard you're going to America." And he hands me a chocolate bar. And I'm thinking, what's the matter with adults? I'm going to America, it's going to grow on trees there. But I took it anyway. Because I thought he could give it to one of these kids here, don't get it. You know? That was my third chocolate bar. Fourth chocolate bar. It is Barrington, Illinois. My father's first paycheck. He takes us to the store. You can buy whatever you want. I bought a chocolate bar. The big one, not like today's big one. The real half-pounder. I ate it all. I got so sick, but it was worth every bit of it. So, yes?
I just wanted to know what happened to the children without parents or grandparents?
Oh, well, they were put in an orphanage. Maybe you've heard the book Yanicharan. That's some of them, they finally came together, but a lot of them never connected with their parents. We have a family friend like that, had a hard time because they were indoctrinated and they weren't allowed to speak German. So that's another story. A lot of families were split apart. I was very lucky. I ended up with both my parents. My story is a mild story. Karlsdorf, the mothers got to stay with the children. The other places they didn't. And the reason they got to stay with the children was our doctor. We had Dr. Mijatovic. He was in the Karlsdorf for many years. And he went and begged that they please keep the mothers with the children. And if he wouldn't have done that, because like my husband, he was in Mollydorf, he didn't see his mother. They took the children away from the parents. And if I wouldn't have had my mother, I would have died. I know I would have. Because the food that we got was not enough to sustain your life. Any other questions?
At what point in time did the situation for the people in the camps improve? Because I remember all of a sudden the Yugoslavs realized that they had lost an important trading partner for their pears and plums. As a matter of fact, Tito was invited to Germany all of a sudden. So what happened here? Or when did this happen?
Well, I think probably 47, 48 they started, because when we escaped, a lot of people escaped in 47. I think they sort of looked the other way. They didn't know what to do with us anymore. And in 48, they also, in the fall, they opened up the camps.
When you came out of Yugoslavia, did you have to pay for it?
My mother, I don't know where they got the money. They paid somebody off to bribe the guards. First time we got caught.
The guards?
No, there was a guide that took us out. And the first one that took us out of Gakova, he left us in the fields and took off. And we got recaptured. And we were locked up in the basement with 50 people that was so small you could only stand up, no lights, no toilets for a week.
After they opened the camps, as far as the Germans, did they expel them from Yugoslavia?
No, they had to pay to get out.
They had to pay to get out?
Yeah.
Did they elect to remain in Yugoslavia?
Well, some of them didn't have any money. I mean, where are you going to get the money from? And they had to pay, I don't know how much they had to pay.
I was
My cousin who escaped with us and went back, that's what he told us, because they had to pay to get out.
12,000
Yeah.
only 14 on mine, so I was on the table with my parents, but I went to service.
Yeah. Are there any other?
Without your papers, how did you get to America?
Well, my uncle was in America, and he brought us over. My uncle came to America when he was 17 in the 20s, and he was married here, and that's how he sponsored us. Yeah. So, and we came in steerage. We came first. We came on the SS America, which was a fancy ship, but we came in steerage. They segregated the women from the men, and we were. My mother and I and two other old ladies were in a really small cabin next to the boiler room or whatever. And when you looked out the window, all you saw was water. It was under the water. But there I got my first real look at what America would be like. All the food and everything. God.
Yeah, still coming back, I mean, that's your question as well. I think, when you left, you were German, weren't you?
Yes.
Yes, okay.
A Donauschwab.
Yeah, well, I know.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry. But then I think, coming then to Germany, what were you? I mean,
Where were we in before we came to Munich?
Yes.
We were in a camp, a displaced person camp, and there my mother found out she met her cousin there, that my father was still alive, because her husband and my father escaped from Russia. So, like I said, if it wouldn't have been for my mother, I wouldn't be here. My mother was, I remember, well, she found out my father was alive in Munich. We took off, papers or no papers. We crossed over this bridge, I don't know which river or whatever, I can't remember. And there were the guards. And I was so puzzled because nobody told you anything. Bist du Rotznos, you don't know anything. That means you're, And nobody told me anything. I was always in. So here's my mother talking to this guard and he says, are you here black or white? In German, weiß oder schwarz. And my mother says with this laugh, it was snowing. She says, can't you see it's white? It's snowing. And here he sees these two women with these 4 children. So he said, oh, just go over there. So we crossed the border. And when we got into the train station, you will read in my book, the most exciting part about this whole trip was I lost my first tooth. That was more important to me than anything. But I was 7 years old,
Did the terminology flüchtling ever show up?
Oh, yes. Yes.
Never was referred to as a Vertriebener.
No, Flüchtling, that's what they called us in Munich. The kids weren't allowed to play with us. We were bad kids. We were Flüchtlinge.
Or DP.
Or DP. Not DP, well, DP in America.